Now then, a warm welcome back for our special guest this morning. It's Ben Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Now then, sickeningly talented as both an actor and a comic, Ben is still probably best known as one half of BBC One favourites, Armstrong Miller, whose latest series started a few weeks back. Some of my fave characters are back, like those wicked fighter pilots, and along with some new ones as well, like the apologetic Blue Peter presenters. do you have your favourites?
I do, yeah. I really like this character I'm doing called Dennis Lincoln Park, he's kind of like a sort of Lord Clark Civilization kind of character, and he's always showing you some priceless artefact that you know he's going to end up destroying. You're never quite sure how.
It must be very difficult to decide when to get rid of characters and when not. I was wondering with the new series whether the fighter pilots will be back. Really chuffed they are. But you must agonise over some of them.
You do agonise, and I think also you probably get tired of them before the public get tired of them, I think, as well, because you kind of lived with them for a longer period, because there was the time when you were writing them and discussing them. So, all in all, yeah, it's a tricky thing. Do you think we should do... I mean, we're writing the new series at the moment. I was wondering whether we should do the pilots again in that. What do you think?
Absolutely.
OK.
It's like hearing David Walliams say, I'm a lady. I mean, it's just like one of those things I think you could go on for years doing them.
Good, because it's been in the papers. There's been a couple of articles sort of saying, oh, it's time to sort of get rid of them. And you think, we've only done one series. I mean, the life cycle of these things is getting pretty short, isn't it?
I guess because everybody milks it. I mean, everybody gets in on your ideas, I suppose.
Oh, that we should get the chance to milk it.
Now then, we've been given a sneak preview at this Friday's instalment where Ben's posh butler is dealing with an unwanted visitor.
Subtle stuff. Subtle stuff.
Now then, you're going live with it next year, is that right?
We are. It's very exciting, yeah. Tickets on sale now. No, we're out next autumn. I think we're something like 40, 45 dates at the moment, and it'll be all the same characters that we've been doing in this series and the previous series, but with new, with new material, so...
Quick changes as well,
Very, yeah. It's going to be interesting getting in and out of my vegetarian...
I learnt a few things from a streaker the other day. Just have everything velcroed on, and you can just whip it off one outfit at a time. He went from fully dressed to naked by a kind of monkey jockstrappy type thing in half a second. Yeah,
that is impressive. I mean, not much call for that in our show, but as David will know, I mean, the quick change, the quick change ladies are amazing.
Absolutely. Are you playing arenas or theatres?
Theatres.
Right.
Yeah,
OK.
Yeah.
OK. Which will lend itself to those quick changes more because you've got the wing space and what have you.
Now, very quickly, you were best man at Alexander Armstrong's wedding, and I've been told I have to ask you about the stag do. Apparently, it was really wild and crazy.
It was mad, Matthew. It was just wild. We just iced cakes. It was
true?
Crazy. Yeah, we did.
Cake icing.
Well, by bizarre, well, not bizarre for him, but bizarre for us. But our bizarre coincidence, Alexander is related to Clarissa Dixon Wright. I think they're cousins of some kind.
Okay.
So she came along to the stag night, and we iced the wedding cake under her instruction. It was not perhaps the most butch of scenarios until the drink started flowing. We started getting quite creative with the icing. One or two of them were, shall we say, representative of the bride and groom in a way that perhaps wouldn't be appropriate for, a family occasion. So, in the end, I did notice that not many of our decorations made it onto the actual wedding cake, which was probably a good...
She actually doing the cake?
Yeah, on the actual wedding cake, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good fun. I heartily recommend it.
And that was the cake that was cut on the day?
That was the cake that was cut on the day.
I'd love to see the photograph.
Yeah.
So would I. I'd like to have heard some of the stories Clarissa tells as well. They're quite near the knuckle, aren't they?
She's fantastic, yes, she knows no fear.
Listen, great to have you with us this morning, and you guys at home.
So parents who send their kids to a top comp save themselves on average how much in private school fees? The answer is an unbelievable £85,000.
Which is a lot of money. You're watching The Right Stuff with David Ian, Natalie Pinkham and our special guest Ben Miller. In 10 minutes or so, Ben will take us through the rest of today's headlines. First, though, parents who lie to their kids to get a first-class state education. Lie about where they live to get their kids a first-class state education, I should say. Email your thoughts to rightstuff@5.tv. Kirsty will read some out in a mo. 3 out of 4 councils say they've seen an increase in the number of people pretending to live in catchment areas linked to the best schools. And the Chief Schools Adjudicator, Dr Ian Craig, reckons 3,500 parents lie on school application forms every year. School Secretary Ed Balls believes tougher sanctions are needed to nip this trend in the bud. He's talking fines, he's talking community service, though Craig believes the prize of a top education for Nout is so great, even get tough measures like those won't deter some parents. So what lies and cons do these mums and dads resort to? Some find God to get their spawn into better performing faith schools. Never did me no harm. Others rent out flats near the best schools, so they appear to live in the catchment area and then move out as soon as the kids are in. More imaginative are the parents who claim their child is related to another who's already at the school because they share the same surname. It's quite clever, that one. Or you can pretend your marriage is in the rocks, move out, go and live with someone who just happens to be in your preferred school's catchment area, and then miraculously rediscover the love of your life. None of these things is illegal. You're not defrauding anyone because you're not gaining directly financially. Are they even immoral? Close to 1 in 5 don't get their first choice school each year. About 1 in 7 LEAs allocate school places by lottery. That's a thought. Something Ed Balls should say, says should only happen as a last resort. David, do you have any sympathy, first of all, for parents who do play the system?
Well, look, you know, most of us would chop off a limb for our kids.
Yeah.
So,
or
you know,
for 85 grand, which is saving.
I understand the motivation, but it's stealing, isn't it? You're stealing the place from somebody else who should have got
but
it.
if the system is... If you've got 1 in 5 children not getting their first choice school, then you could argue the system is failing all these children, all these families.
But presumably they're not getting their choice because somebody else, for whatever reason, the criteria was that they deserved that place. They should have got that place more.
There's not enough first-class schools out there because of systematic interference by government.
But this point
is
do you lie in order to get that place, and what should be the recrimination if you do? And I don't think it's go to prison, but I think it's certainly removed from the school.
I say it's a good initiative. I really do.
Well,
why should it be? Why should it be a crime to want the best for your children? Yeah, who was that?
Just ask the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
So you think it's good initiative?
Yeah, because I mean, why is it a crime to want the best for your children? It's a sad indictment on our country that parents are in this situation in the first place.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm sort of coming round to that view. There's an element of good planning, I suppose. If the school system was perfect, then it would be very unfair. But it's so imperfect, and so there is so much variation within it. What do you think, Ben?
I said the one that makes me laugh is people attending churches. I mean, I had a friend who went to church for 2 years and joined the choir of the school, which I thought was a fantastic touch. And still their kid didn't get into
It's enough you turn Satanist, isn't it?
I know. I mean, it's extraordinary the lengths that people do go to. I think it is understandable, but I would have to side with David and say, you know, really, if you are cheating the system, really what you're relying on is everyone else following the rules, basically, and that's where it's that's where it's unfair, and the unidentified patient is the education system.
But there's a flip to that, which is if all the other parents are doing it, don't get left on the loser bus.
And there's a line, surely there's a line. I mean, lying about where you live, that's understandable. The problem is that most of the options that are available to people all involve money. So it's really people with money who have these choices. People who don't have the spare cash are not really able to cheat the system in the same way, and that's the even greater inequality, I think.
I suppose the worst variation of that would be where someone actually can afford to move house specifically into an area to get their child into the best school, which may actually cost them tens of thousands of pounds.
It might cost them the 85
Well, that's what I was just wondering.
Which is one of the biggest drivers towards why people choose where they live these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is to do with catchment areas.
It's got to change, isn't it?
Well, I think it's certainly a flawed system because we haven't got enough schools, etc., etc. But lying to get in can't be the way to go.
I think that they've been pushed into that corner. I think that the government needs. I mean, I heard
you
somewhere
have one chance with a child's education, don't you?
Well, exactly.
Really, that's it.
You've got to get it right.
You've got to go for the best you can.
And who knows? I mean, you never know whether you've got it right until probably when they're 16 or 17, they can reflect on it, whether they were happy with their education.
OK. Don't forget you can email your thoughts on this. rightstuff@5.tv is the address. Love to know what kind of sanctions you think might deter parents from playing the system. After the break, though, Ben's going to take us through the rest of today's headlines.